I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co., and this is News and Week in Review, where we're going to dive into a variety of news pieces, the videos we've covered this week, as well as the games we've covered this week, and a creator spotlight for you. As far as news goes, we are still mostly on Tariff. Honestly, it's just the biggest thing currently going on in the board game space, and frankly, something that does represent a potential existential crisis to the way we know our hobby. I do think it makes sense that this is going to keep coming up for the next few weeks, my guess. I mean, listen, we're at a point where literally the number of the tariffs is changing day by day, so, yeah, it's still news. And I am sorry with that. I do understand if it's something that any of you are exhausted with. We've had a full live video about it, we had a week in review, and then we had a full dedicated video responding to comments, and frankly, I'm not sure I'm done yet either, so we'll see. But I do understand if any of you are sick of the conversation. I also think it's really a big deal for the hobby, so it's gonna come up. But also, we are not going that much into it today, so don't worry too much there. But as far as Tariff news, and if you want something that's not Tariff news, we over on Board Game Wire, the American Tabletop Awards announced their most recent winners. The American Tabletop Awards is kind of mirroring the Spiel des Jahres, but for the, well, American side of things. And they had the Gang, Captain Flip, Let's Go to Japan, as well as Fromage, as were the winners in the various categories. I'm always a little bit, what's the right word? The word that's coming to mind is elitist, which is not great, but I'm always a little bit mindful that certain types of awards, including the Spiel des Jahres and the American Tabletop Awards, tend to be giving out awards that are catered towards more mass market audiences to a degree, but it's almost gateway. They kind of lean gateway as far as what they're doing. And for the Spiel des Jahres, that is a big deal in Germany. So I kind of respect and understand what it's doing there, and I understand what the American Tabletop Awards is trying to do here, but I also don't think it has that same level of impact. I think there's generally going to be two kinds of award systems. Things where you have people voting based off of the average Joe who's playing board games, the average Joe within our hobby, and then things that are more, different audiences. So either way, it's good to have. It covers things that are usually gateway plus. Similar to the Spiel des Jahres, it's not going to be a mass market game, nor are you going to find things like SETI winning any of these awards. It's usually things that are more accessible, which does have a place. But anyways, back to tariffs now. And that's from Board Game Wire. I'll have links to that down below. But back to tariffs. I'm just going to mention a bunch of other things that I think are worth reading. There are a variety of updates on crowdfunding campaigns that are worth checking out. Forsaken had a great update that really went into detail, as did Frosthaven, a very solid update that went into detail on a lot of things. Rove had a great update. Stonemaier Games, this wasn't an update, this was just a new article. Stonemaier Games put out another article that I thought was very, very well done, really covering and breaking things down. I'm going to link to all of these down below because I think they're all worth reading to kind of get a general sense of where the hobby is and where the people who have games are in the hobby. Earthborne Rangers also put out an update. This is kind of in the good news category because they produce in the US, which means you don't have any issues there, and it is worth seeing a publisher who has done that. Now, so we'll talk more about Earthborne Rangers soon, but either way, they had an update there if you want to check that out. Board Game Geek had a good aggregate as well, as far as Board Game Geek had an article covering a variety of different opinions from a variety of different creators, including some of the ones I just mentioned, had excerpts in that article, but again, it's a good consolidation of a lot of information if you are looking for a variety of creator inputs, a variety of people. And, well, I'm trying to think how, I'm not trying to go too far down the tariff rabbit hole today, so I'm just going to keep it focused at that. And then lastly, one thing that definitely is worth checking out, there's an article from Quimbley Games. They were the company that kind of tried taking up Peterson's projects before parting ways. But Quimbley Games had an article about their year in manufacturing in the US and how they attempted to do that, and unfortunately it just didn't really work out very well. So basically a bunch of articles over there. Actually, it was actually funny. I'll try to link to it down below. There was a thread about Quimbley Games and their partnership with Peterson and how things didn't work out. And there was a line that stood out to me that I thought was interesting. Where in this whole thread on Board Game Geek, it was talking about Quimbley Games didn't realize how hard it would be to manufacture in the US. They thought they could just kind of make it happen, and they were like, well, we're way behind in knowledge, we're way behind in expertise, and even if we can get those tools and knowledge there, we just have to pay a much higher average average salary, in which case, or average hourly rate, in which case it just wasn't sustainable. And in this thread on BGG, there was a comment being like, wow, Quimbly Games just figured this out. I thought it was common knowledge that this just wasn't sustainable. But it's definitely not common knowledge, as very much evidenced by the amount of people who have commented on either my videos or other videos with the belief that we can bring that manufacturing to the US. Despite Earthborne Rangers doing it, it is generally not viable. It is viable to an extent with card games. Even then, things are more expensive. Earthborne Rangers is relatively expensive compared to the contents you get for it. But again, this is I don't want to get sucked down too far down the rabbit hole. We might do that in another video. But for right now, more updates and news about tariffs that are worth updating on, worth looking at if you want to get a variety of different inputs on it. Past that, we're going to move to our creator spotlight, and I'm actually choosing Earthborne Games for this, or Andrew Navarro specifically. Well, I guess Earthborne Games, Andrew Navarro being the head of it. They're going to be our creator spotlight because I think it is topical given all these things going on. See, Earthborne Rangers, or Andrew Navarro, was originally a creative lead or head designer, something like that, at Fantasy Flight for a long time, before branching out on his own and creating Earthborne Games. Their first game was Earthborne Rangers, which was incredibly well received. They made the decision to produce it in the US, which I guess at this point in time certainly looks very good for them. It was considered expensive, and I guess it is considered expensive, but nonetheless they managed to do that, especially considering it's a card-based game, and they managed to do so in a way that right now definitely looks very good because they won't have any of those issues because nothing really changes on their end. But past that, Andrew Navarro is a delightful human being to talk to. You can check out a blog I did with him. I did an interview with him on behalf of GameFound and the Peoples Behind the Meeples series that I did. And so I got a chance to get to know his history a bit more, as well as his future plans for his company. Because they have Earthborne Rangers, they had another campaign after, and then they have an upcoming campaign as well, kind of dealing more into that kind of an Android Netrunner style game, while being very, very different, is an upcoming project from them. But in general, I've had a chance to meet a variety of people on their team, and the company, as well as Andrew, as well as the other people on the team, of which there's another Andrew, are all delightful human beings who are coming to the industry, coming to Earthborne Rangers, Earthborne Games, with a lot of past industry knowledge, as well as managing to put out an incredibly well-received game. So kudos all around to Earthborne Rangers, and I just thought they'd be a very topical creator spotlight pick. In any case, from there, we have the videos of the week. For the videos of the week, the videos we've had this past week, we had 8 games if you like Minecraft. That went up on Sunday. That was basically because the Minecraft movie came out. I figured 8 board games if you like Minecraft is a decent topical conversation. Get into a variety of things that are not Minecraft, but possibly adjacent, from Terraria to Barren Park to Rolling Heights, all different things that lent itself to that degree of creation or crafting even that you might find in Minecraft. Then there was 2 Back or Not to Back on Monday, diving into 2 Back or Not to Back, which 2 Back or Not to Back is going to have to structurally change until this tariff thing is done. This happened during COVID, but it's nearly impossible. It's nearly impossible for me to provide any sort of, I guess, does it make sense to get it now or not advice when you're talking about this level of instability as far as how the future looks. So it's still going to cover the campaigns, and I have had people mention in the past that many people don't actually care about the, it doesn't make sense to back it or not. But I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to approach the series, because I want to be able to make everyone happy, which you can't do in life, but I also want to try. And so I want to be able to give everyone what they need, which is why over time 2 Back and Not to Back has shifted to more of a quick focus on the campaign, 2 or 3 lines. It doesn't help the fact that over time the amount of campaigns that are worth backing has gone down, and the common answers are more and more frequently just get it down the road because it's not nearly as worth it. So we'll see. We'll constantly iterate, adjust. At the end of the day, it's still going to be information about the crowdfunding campaigns currently available. What that information looks like, that we'll see. Past that, Wednesday had a video about the responses to your comments about tariffs on the Week in Review. Again, I might do this again. We'll see. I don't know. Here's the problem. So we had a whole video about tariff responses, and overall, I thought it went pretty decently. The most consistent thing that was commented on against me in a way that has merit, make no mistake, is the idea that I had a bit too much of, there's an argumentative fallacy called appeal to authority. The idea there being that where you stop engaging with an argument on its merits, and instead you engage with, well, that expert says X, Y, and Z. Meaning in theory, you should engage with an argument on its merits, not based off of some other person who supposedly knows more. And that's an argumentative fallacy. And it is. And I think I leaned a bit too hard on that in that video, which wasn't my intent. I have a specific intent that I did comment a few replies on as far as where that was, but I'm aware of the argument of authority, appeal to authority. I'm aware of the appeal to authority, and it is an argumentative fallacy. I still have the exact reason and mindset as to what I had in mind, which I didn't clearly illustrate. I may choose to wade back into the tariff conversation at some point. I'm not yet sure if I want to, because the practical aspect is I like talking about things, and I like first of all learning for myself, and I also like being able to pass on things that I know. Both things are true, and I have learned things from this video, as well as the comments and replies. But I also am not trying to fight with people. So there's a weird balance, there's a weird line, there's a line in the sand where you're adding value, and then there's a line where you're just fighting. And I'm not looking to just fight. I'm looking to add value when and where I can. And so I have to decide whether I think there is value to continuing to engage in this tariff conversation, because I'm wondering if at what point are the party lines drawn? At what point are the people who are against tariffs simply against tariffs, and the people who are for tariffs simply for tariffs? At what point are we actually engaging in conversation that could in any way change anyone's mind? Because that's the only point in conversation. Everything else is just shouting at a wall. So we'll see. I might dive back into it. Either way, I will say I appreciate all of you, whether you agree with me or not. Even the fact that you're still here, especially if you disagree with me and you're still here, I appreciate you even more. But I like the ability to have conversation. We don't have to agree. But if we stop talking to each other, then what's the point? Like, really, what's the point? Like, I had one person who said, after the video, this person commented that they were unsubscribing because of the video. And I got a bunch of people unsubscribed because of the video, but like, there's one person commented, like, you know, they're unsubscribing because they disagree with me. And I'm like, if you watch me for board game content and you unsubscribe because you disagree with me on one thing, that is the very nature of curating your own echo chamber. Like, it's one thing if we disagree all the time. It's one thing if you get no value from my videos and ever in general, whatever, fine. But if you generally like the stuff I put out, and on this one topic we disagree, and you walk away because of that, like if the person said, this is my final straw, I'd at least appreciate that. That would at least make sense to me. But to say, I disagree with you, so I'm unsubscribing, like how, that is curating your own echo chamber when you immediately eliminate any voice that provides anything different than what you personally believe. And that I'm against. Anyways, moving on. So that was our tariff conversation on Wednesday. And then on Friday, we had games being added to the collection. At least we had a few being added this month, as opposed to last month where we had like 2. It was a very short video. This month, we at least had a few. As far as the games covered this past week, we had a whole bunch. We had a Green Conquest sponsored playthrough on Saturday. Green Conquest was okay. I think first of all, the prototype was not where I would like it to be. They already made changes to it. The overall game, the tactical abstract nature of it was pretty decent, but I do wonder how defensive it would be versus how much you're able to pull off your moves. I enjoyed it, but I don't know if it stood out amongst the various abstract games that are out there. Black Forest, we had a review for Black Forest. I like Black Forest a lot. I will be doing a play this, not that, between Black Forest and Glass Road. I don't know exactly when, but it will be coming some point soon. There's also a review for Puerto Rico on Tuesday. Meg did a review of Puerto Rico on her own. My own personal rating on it is probably a 4 out of 5. I could see it going to a 4.5 with the expansion content. The expansion content I didn't get a chance to play yet. Well, I mean, I played some expansions, but not all of them. Specifically, more buildings. I think more buildings could mix it up. I think right now I'm at a 4 to 5 on Puerto Rico. And if the buildings provide more variety to the experience in a way that doesn't have me constantly trying to approach the game the same way, then I think that would mix up the experience for me and possibly boost it to a 4.5. Ultimately, Meg decided to do this video alone because she really likes the game, and she didn't want the taint of a Game Found, because Awakened Realms and Game Found share ownership. She didn't want that aspect of, you know, the qualifiers and disclaimers that are necessary if I'm in the review. But I wasn't on the review because I didn't like it. I like it a lot. It's pretty solid. But she wanted to go on and on about it. Anyways, that was Puerto Rico. And we also had a Inish unboxing. This is an unboxing of the Inish Big Box as well as the expansion. I will have review content for you before the campaign goes live. Well, probably before the campaign goes live. And then there's also a gameplay of Starleap. I really enjoy Starleap. Starleap is so much fun. The graphic design, the graphic design I don't think will pull people in, which is the tricky part, because I think it's a really good game. It reminds me of Cartagena, but just better done. It's a game that I would happily play again this second in an instant. It is just quick-paced, fast. It's fast, quick-paced fun that is just has enough differences as far as how you're going to engage with it each time, even just based on the variable setup, that it really feels like they took Cartagena and then made a better game from it. Although when I speak to them, they didn't actually know Cartagena, so I don't think they was inspired by that. But just my own personal experience with games, I always liked Cartagena, but it gets a little boring over multiple plays, and Starleap, I think, is a much better version of it. Past that, on Thursday, we had a Maglev Metro Paris gameplay. There'll be another one coming soon for London. Maglev Metro is a solid game. It's a what's the word for it? Pick up and deliver. Pick up and deliver, which I don't like, but it has tableau building, which I do like. And so overall, it was a gameplay of Paris, where everything was on strike the whole game. Then we also had a review for Lying Pirates go up. Lying Pirates, not as much for me. I had fun playing it, but like, that's the expression. I had fun playing it. That's what it is. It's a fun game where you do the liar's dice thing and then move around the board and fight. But ultimately, I thought that the various locations weren't interesting enough that to me, the best part of the game was liar's dice, which is its own game. So it's a weird kind of balance, because on the one hand, I had fun with it. On the other hand, the most fun I had with it was a part of it that's from a different game. So that was Lying Pirates. I give it a 3 out of 5. I do think it probably, like, I can see why it's been doing well on crowdfunding, both on Kickstarter and on GameFound. I think there's definitely an audience for it. I just think that audience is a bit more mass market, or at least I would assume that, but I could be wrong. And then lastly, our weekly live this past Thursday was actually a gameplay of Dragons of Etchinstone. I will have review content for you soon. I still need to go through the expansions, but I got to play Dragons of Etchinstone, which was fun. Had the designer, Joe Clipfel, designer of Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs. He popped in as well to help out with a few questions, which was very nice. But I got to play through Dragons of Etchinstone, so if you want to see what a session of that looks like, definitely check out that playthrough. It's going to be under the live category, so if you're looking at my videos, just search Board Game Co. Dragons of Etchinstone, skip the review, because the review's for the old print and play copy, and then go straight directly to the gameplay. Anyways, those are the games we covered this past week. Which brings us to the games on the table. Games on the table, as usual, these are games I hope to be playing this week. We have Rewild over here, which is a, I believe, somewhat abstract game. It's from, oh my gosh, what's it called? It's from Triceratops over here, who did Zoo Tycoon as well as other games. I'm excited to play this one, but haven't played it yet, but I will be playing it this next week. We have Street Masters, which I'm hoping to dive into. We'll see. I actually have an unboxing for this coming soon as well. I'm hoping to dive into Street Masters sooner rather than later, but I also know that I have a bunch of games on my homework list, so we'll see if I can get to it this week. And then speaking of homework list, I will be diving into Fairy Tail very, very, very soon. By the time you watch this video, I will hopefully have played Fairy Tail because the campaign is launching on Tuesday, and so I need to dive in sooner rather than later. And that is basically it. As far as the videos coming up next week, we have several. We're going to have the biggest disappointments, which I know I told you was going to be last week, but then I did the Tariff video instead, so it got pushed off. So biggest disappointments of 2024 will be there, as well as I will be doing a video where I rank a bunch of random board game arena games I've been playing. I've been diving into more random board game arena games in general, and I decided to do a recap of the 17 games I've been playing over the past 2 months, and then tell you what I think about them. And so that is basically it. That is your news and week in review. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you have an excellent week, and as always, I hope you have a good one.